guys, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. If this is your first time, welcome. This is 444. So I take 4 palettes, I wear them for 4 days each, and then I come back and I give you reviews and swatches of all of them, my thoughts, and sometimes I declutter palettes as well. If you like what you see, please remember to like and subscribe. I'm trying to remember to say that now because I never remember to say that. Anyway, the 4 palettes I will be talking about today is the Too Faced Natural Face palette, the Huda Beauty Pink Sands palette, the Becca and Chrissy Teigen palette, and then the Tarteist Pro Glow and Blush. This is like the volume 2. And we're gonna start with this one because it's in my hand. So in here, the packaging does unfold, so you do get a mirror on each side, which I'm going to conveniently fold up in the back. And they do magnetize in the back, which is kind of nice, which is helpful for YouTubers. All right, so in here, you do get a bronzer, a highlight, and 4 blushes. I'm going to swatch them really fast for you. All right, so as you can probably tell, I am pretty pale, and some of these are pretty bright, but this is what they all look like. You have the highlighter there, the bronzer. The bronzer is a little warm for me. It is not my favorite. It's not one that I would reach for on a regular basis. That is called Solo, I believe. And then you have the 4 blushes. These are not the same quality of blushes as the normal Amazonian clay blushes from Tarte. My goodness, I can't talk today. I almost said from Target. But I really like these, and surprisingly, this is my favorite shade. It's this one right down here. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but I really enjoyed that one. So I will be keeping this palette. It's not the most versatile for me, like it's more blush than highlight, and usually I like to have an extra highlight. I don't really care if I have a variety of bronzers, but I do like having a variety of highlighters. All right, so next up is the Becca and Chrissy Teigen palette. And this one I actually, spoiler alert, I bought a second one of this when I found a second one at TJ Maxx. It is very reflective. It doesn't want to, it's showing like the outside windows pretty well. But it does come with 2 highlighters, a blush and a bronzer. And the highlighters are Rose Gold and Beach Nectar, and Hibiscus Bloom is the blush. The highlight, or the bronzer, is called Malibu Soleil. And I do like that on the back they label, you can't see that, but they do label which is which, so it makes life a lot easier for a person to know what the colors are. All right, so I will admit when I first got this, it was a little intimidating and I didn't purchase it when it was in regular stores because I was like, it's too dark, it's not gonna work for my skin tone. But I have come to love this. I wore this a lot last summer, and I don't really, I don't tan because I don't go out in the sun, and I don't self-tan because I don't have the patience for that. But I do love the shades. You have the 2 gorgeous highlighters. They are pretty dark, but I apply them with a pretty light hand, and they just look really beautiful on the cheekbones and on the Cupid's bow. And then I really love that blush. It is such a beautiful blush. And even the bronzer, like when I do bronze, it's a good shade. Like I thought it might be too dark, but I really don't think it will be, or I don't think it is. So I really do like this palette, and I'm glad that I picked up a backup in case I ever go through it. Now, I wish this had an extra blush. So kind of the first 2 palettes, if they could combine, that would make them ideal in my mind. All right, next up we have Huda Beauty. As you can see, it is very holographic, and she put a lot of work into the artwork. There are 4 versions of this palette, and I have Pink Sands. I also have another version at home, or with my makeup is what I mean. So you can try to use this one as a bronzer, and I've done it a little bit, but it's a little too glowy for me as a bronzer, but I do use this one as a blush fairly regularly. All right, so according to this, you put the cream all over your cheeks and up here, up to your temple as a base, and then you apply this one all over from cheek to temple. Then you put this one under your cheekbones. You can't see it. I'm trying to show you the directions. That's silly. And then you put this one on your cheeks. So that's what they look like. So the third one is the cream bronzer or cream highlighter. That's what it looks like. This is more of a highlighter palette than really a face palette, in my opinion. I don't really see this one doing much sculpting like it says, but I do think they're pretty and I do wear them. I do like all of them on their own. Not so much a fan of the cream one though. All right, our final one is the Too Faced Natural Face palette, and in here, the packaging is beautiful, by the way. Like, it's really nice and sturdy. It's kind of beveled plastic, not glass. And then you do have a full-size mirror in there, and it smells so good. It smells like coconut. It has a lovely scent to it. So in here you get 2 bronzers, 2 blushes, and 2 highlights, and we'll kind of talk about those after I swatch them. All right, so here they are all swatched. You do have the 2 highlighters there on top. One is definitely more pinky, one is more gold. You have the 2 blushes, and then the bronzer, and then the very shimmery bronzer. I don't like this shade at all. It doesn't work for me. I think it's good that it's in here because it works for more of for a variety more of skin tones, but it's not one that I would wear or gravitate towards. I do like this one. It does work well as a bronzer. I love both of the highlights, and I think the 2 blushes are really nice. I like that they're more matte, especially with the shine there. This one, I might try it as a blush. It's a little brown though, but yeah, that's what they look like. I love the smell of this palette though. It's making me hungry just holding it up here. All right, so ranking them and buying suggestions. I'm going to put Huda Beauty in 4th place, which you know is pretty shocking because I love Huda Beauty if you've watched this channel at all. So I put this one as 4th for a couple reasons. One, the versatility isn't really there. You really do need a separate product or 2 to make it work. It's more of a highlight palette than really a face palette. So that's why I'm putting it as 4th. And 3rd, I'm going to put the Tarteist Pro Glow and Blush. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it's more blush than the other 2. I don't find that this is a universal bronzer so much. I don't see myself reaching for it very much, but I do really love this shade, so I feel like it rates a little bit higher because it does have a little bit more versatility, but it's not quite as good as the other ones. In 2nd place, I'm going to put the Becca and Chrissy Teigen palette because this one, it makes me happy to wear it. Like, I love that blush and that bronzer. They're just super, I feel like they work for a lot of skin tones and they just really look nice. And I love the 2 highlights. I love Becca's highlights. I think they're some of the best out there. So that one is 2nd, which means that the Too Faced palette does come in at number 1. And this is what we'll show it one more time. But to be honest, I don't know if I recommend you going out and purchasing any of these. Of them all, this would be the one that I would recommend the most. But as I was playing with it for this 4 for 4, I was like, I'm bored. I want something different. I'm kind of sick of this palette. The colors, like, I don't know. I just wasn't super inspired. I think it's a great palette. Like, I don't think it's a bad palette. I just wasn't really inspired to play with it the way that I have been with other palettes that I've talked about in these 4 for 4s, like my Natasha Denona Daria palette. That one really just excites me to play with it, and I had fun playing with it every day, and I was trying to think of new combinations and just looks with it. I didn't find that same inspiration with this one. That's not to say this isn't a good palette. Like, I think it's a good palette. It just wasn't inspiring, and it could be that I'm trying to compare it to other ones. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on these down below. Have you tried any of these palettes? Do you own any of these palettes? What are your thoughts and opinions on them? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me today. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.